Hello and welcome to issue 11 of my weekly comic video. Got a decent sized pull this week, so let's get going. First up, Superman number 12. Now, this ends a 2.5 part story about a new interdimensional alien thing that the Russians called forth basically in their attempt to create a Russian version of Superman, or their own Superman. And really, it's a bit of a disappointment, to be honest. The last book and a half, the setup, I guess, actually proved to be a pretty good lead-in to the story. We got a new villain-esque individual that proved to be quite challenging to the Man of Steel with with some new toys and all that type of stuff. But really, this issue ends things rather quickly. And to be fair, I bet you this was supposed to have been something of a longer comic or longer story arc, but due to that issue 0 stuff, they kind of probably wanted to close things off a little bit faster than what they originally planned. So it's a bit of a disappointment to the ending, especially given all the new villains and situations and everything that we've gotten since the series started, or the rebooted series started. It is just kind of a letdown, and really the issue 0 preview sort of is a little bit of a letdown as well. Basically, it looks like it's going to be a story about why Krypton exploded, which really isn't that big of a deal, but we'll see how that plays out. I know there's been a lot going on with that in the Supergirl storyline more than the Superman storyline, but we'll just see how it all plays out. But this particular issue, it's if you've been collecting it, then it's a good close off. But it isn't going to be something that it's not something that's going to be attracting new readers to the book. Next up, Green Lantern New Guardians number 12. Now, this issue ends the story arc of the Green Lanterns, or the New Guardians of the book, or whatever, with the kind of the reveal of why things initially happened to the characters. Not really a whole lot of detail, but kind of just hey, this is why it happened type of a thing. The story, also similar to the Superman story, seems that it had to end itself a lot quicker than it needed to be. You had 12 issues of building this all up and did some really good character development between the different members of the different corps and how they work together. But really, it looked like it was just a really rushed finish. The overall fight against the main baddie didn't really last that long, and it just felt a really rushed thing. It could be because of the issue 0 stuff. Is the reason for that, though. I think it has more to do with that it had to end for what's coming up next, for the Green Lanterns, the whole Guardian things and whatnot. So it's been a good book. It's well worth a pickup. It's definitely the best Green Lantern book out there currently. It a lot of different things going on in the book, a lot of different routes that it's going that it really hasn't been going before, and a lot that the other books have sort of been ignoring or kind of just been doing its own thing. So it has been a decent book to pick up. I highly encourage picking them up. And issue 0 looks to be a pretty good place to start off. If you haven't been picking up the book, it potentially is going to be focusing more on Kyle Rayner in this thing than anything else, but we'll kind of have to see how that all plays out. There is also the Green Lantern Annual that'll be out next week or sometime soon. That I would highly, highly, highly recommend picking up, especially if you've been picking up any of the Green Lantern books. That's definitely one that you're going to want to pick up. So, Green Lantern New Guardians, a good pick. You may be a little bit lost if you haven't been collecting any of the Green Lantern books for a while, but it is a good read all the same. Next up, XMen Legacy 272. Now, we pick up our continued adventures of Rogue, who during the Avengers versus X-Men nonsense, or it happened in the X-Men Legacy, but the tie-in to that, she was transported to another world, a world that is in some sort of conflict between the two different species, races, whatever, that are on the planet, and we get to kind of watch that play out in this particular issue. It continues to play out more or less. Again, this has been it's been a decent book to pick up. It's kind of false being X-Men since it's only been about Rogue. However, what I would do is I would recommend the book, not just because of the stories and everything that's going on in the book currently, but Rogue is supposed to be a bigger player in the Marvel universe after all this nonsense is finished. So it's a pretty good lead into that if you're unfamiliar with the character and how she works and thinks and how she's been altered since her origin, or how we all know it from the cartoon or whatever. So it's definitely a good book to pick up. You may want to pick up at least 271 to kind of have a good idea about what's going on as far as the back issue goes. You don't have to go too far back to really know what's going on, and I doubt you're going to be overly lost by just picking up this one. It's pretty standard Marvel MO when it comes to this sort of thing. But if you are a fan of, definitely if you're a fan of Rogue, the character, or just have a decent X-Men storyline that's not part of the Avengers versus X-Men, then this is a good book to pick up. Next up, Iron Man number 523. This book continues to be a very good seller. A lot of twists, a lot of turns going on, and it's been well worth the money. Probably one of the best Marvel books that's out there currently, and it's been continually being exciting. I do think they're coming out a little bit faster. I know I said this before. I think they are coming out a little bit faster than once a month. But really, it's been a very good run for quite a while in the book, and it doesn't look like it's going to be stopping anytime soon. In fact, a lot of the build-up is finally starting. It looks like a lot of that is starting to reveal itself in this issue and in the next couple of issues following up. So definitely, if you haven't been picking up the Iron Man book, then this is definitely going to be one that you're going to want to pick up. Even if you're not a fan of really Iron Man, this is a pretty good. This would be a pretty good chance to take a look at the character in a different light than what he has been in the past. So it's been a very good series, well worth a pickup. Next up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 13. Now, this book, mixed beliefs and mixed for recommendations on this book. It's a $4 book, which is kind of expensive for really not a whole lot going on at in a slow pace. Issue 12 ended with the Turtles' first fight with Shredder and the Foot Clan, and this is kind of a breather issue. Getting ready for the next big thing. The really odd thing about the book is, as the series continues, it seems that the writers and everyone else, Eastman and Waltz and all that, are trying to push that micro series along with this series very heavily. Originally, when it was about the four turtles, it really wasn't all that important to have read the micro series. You weren't really missing anything. You may get a few lines of them mentioning something that happened in the main book, but at the end of the day, you aren't going to be missing anything by not picking up those books. Now with the Splinter and the Casey Jones micro series, it seems that they're trying their best to integrate it more and more in the main series to kind of force you to go pick up that book in addition to this, which is kind of a jip, because they could have very easily put those stories in the main book and everything would have been fine, but it's just kind of a way that they're milking the buyers to spend another $4 on another book. It's been an okay series. It's if you've got the extra change to pick it up or pick up the trade, it is well worth a read, especially if you're a fan of the Turtles. It's a nice reboot. It's not a gimmicky, cartoony, storyline like the cartoon show and all that stuff. It has a little bit more of a serious tone to it. It's just the direction that the team is going isn't a very makes it very hard to recommend the book, because right off the bat, $4 for the book is, I don't know, it's not, I don't think it's a good book, but the fact that it's worth $4, I'm not sure. And the fact that they're trying their hardest to integrate other books that are $4 each into it, it just makes it a hard recommendation. But you won't, if you're a fan of the series, you would enjoy the series very well. The last book for this week is Secret Avengers number 30. Now, I have said that Iron Man is probably one of the best Marvel books out there, but the Secret Avengers book has to be a pretty close second to that, minus the 3-issue tie-in to the Avengers versus XMen nonsense. But this entire series has been very enjoyable. It's very much like Avengers of old, where you have members changing in and out, certain characters taking the spotlight for a particular story or section of the story or a section of the arch, giving a nice variety of what's going on, all the while giving superb little tidbits of, hey, this is something that's going to happen later, planting the seed for future stories. I'm not a huge Hawkeye fan, or a Clint fan, so I kind of on the fence of him kind of being the leader of the team. But overall, the entire series so far has been a very enjoyable pickup, and this issue 30 is no exception. The team is in the middle of a fight against a pseudo new villain group that is going for a more serious bent, and kind of playing for a little bit of a higher stakes than what we've seen in the Avengers books for quite a long time. It's a classic. At the bare bones, it's a classic good versus evil type of a thing, but since the Secret Avengers is more covert, should I say, than your Avengers, you have that kind of spy element that's to the book that you just don't see too much in the other team books from Marvel. And the villains are the same. The villains are somewhat covert as well, which just adds to it. And there's many different layers for the villains. You have your grunts and stuff like that. It's just been a very good story, and it's continuing to be very well written and a very enjoyable pickup. So if you're looking for a good Avengers book, especially with the fact that all the other Avenger books have been a complete waste of time since the Avengers versus X-Men nonsense, this is definitely one that I would recommend picking up. It's obvious that this book is going to be somewhat continuing after all this nonsense that's going on in the Marvel universe. There could be a change of pace for the members or whatever, but overall it seems like this is going to be a concept that will be continuing onwards, and I'm thankful for that. So if you're looking for a good Marvel team book, this is definitely one that you're going to want to pick up. It hasn't really been a disappointment, again with the exception of the main event tie-in, but take those out of the picture, then it's been a very good run. And that will do it for this week. I believe we've got maybe, I don't know if next week or the week after we're going to start getting the zeros. So it'll be an interesting next couple of weeks. So until then, thanks for watching, and God bless.